Alright, welcome. So today we have Ymir. He has been requested to do a Season 3 build for us, so it should be a quick one. Ymir is super flexible. You can build a nice variety of builds and you can be really successful, from damage to bruiser to full-on tank. It doesn't really matter. He has a lot of HP. I'm pretty sure he has the highest HP out of all the gods without any items, just because his base scaling is just so ridiculous. I almost have like 2600 HP without any items. That's just Ymir, but no, normally I cover God's abilities and how it matters into actually building that God, but for Ymir it doesn't really matter too much. A couple of points though: his passive, after you use a damaging ability, your 2, 3, or 4, that target will have frostbite on them for a certain duration, and once they have frostbite, your basic attacks will do 100% more damage. So naturally you'll think Polynomicon would be super good for him. That is definitely the case if you go for a damage build. So Poly kind of depends on how much magical power you have, right? So you'd have to go more of a bruiser or a mage build to really try to invest into a Polynomicon. However, just after you use your 2 or your 3 or whatever, you go ahead and throw out some basic attacks and it's going to surprise you how hard it hits. Another thing that I see a lot of newer players to Smite is when they go ahead and use their ultimate, they don't know that they can actually cancel it. So for me, I have quick casting on that might affect it, but I go ahead and hit 4, and then I can just right click and it'll automatically cancel the ability. This is very important to know when you're playing Ymir, because a lot of times when you go ahead and use your ultimate, they can just walk out or whatever and you're just stuck there sitting target. So that's pretty much it. Now let's get into actually building Ymir. Now, starting with Conquest, there are a few different varieties of starts you can do for Conquest, as of right now anyway. For one, if you're going as the support as you normally would, you can go to the Watcher's Gift. This provides 100 health, which is super important early game. What the passive does allows you to kind of sustain yourself as long as your dual lane partner is getting the killing blows, and that gets you the bonus gold and gets you the health and mana. It's really strong. If you want to be super aggressive early, or you're fighting like Ares and like another god that has damage over time effects, then Market Vanguard is really good for that, as the passive is really strong early on, but of course the later the game goes, the passive is just really weak. So you can go into the Watcher's Gift. Now if you're juggling as Ymir, which you very well could, I'll use Bumba's Mask, or if you are laning, you can go into the Vamp Shroud or the Soul Stone. It's really up to you. But for support Ymir, let's just go with the Watcher's Gift. Now you have, again, a few more stars from here. You can go into the full-on boots. I would recommend going to Shoes of Focus. His cooldowns are naturally kind of high, and without using your freeze or your 2, you're pretty much doing nothing. So I'd recommend going to the cooldown reduction boots. However, if you do want to be really tanky, you can go to the reinforced shoes. Or if you're looking for a lot of sustain with the Watcher's Gift, you can also pair that up with the Traveler's Shoes. This gives you faster rotation times by a lot, and also the HP 5 health per 5 seconds while out of combat is really good, and of course the bonus gold. So those are a few options. Or again, if you're looking to be a damage like solo lane or mid lane or jungle Ymir, then you can go to the Shoes of Magi, obviously. If not, you can try something else that some people do. You can go to the tier 1 boots for the 6%, and then you can rush right into the Winged Blade. What this allows you to do is, Winged Blade provides 300 health, which is huge, for only 1800 gold. It's really cheap and efficient. You get that bonus movement speed plus 10%, so it's kind of like your boots. The attack speed doesn't really matter too much, so crowd control reduction is a nice bonus, and the passive kind of assures you that you can't really be stopped unless you get hard CC'd, like a stun or whatever. But if they try to slow you, you're going to run even faster and just immune that slow, and the fast Ymir is a scary Ymir, honestly. So typically what this star looks like, you go into tier 1 boots, you go into Winged Blade, and then you can go into like a Breastplate of Valor, and then you can go into the rest of your build. However, the normal build would be like going into the Watcher's Gift, and you can go into the Shoes of Focus, and then from here you can build into what you want. Since Ymir has a lot of HP scaling, you can definitely get away with rushing the Breastplate of Valor, because one of the downsides to rushing Breastplate on most gods is Breastplate obviously has no health, and health is very important for supports. And often if you do die when you're rushing the Breastplate, you're so far behind. But with Ymir, you can go straight into the Breastplate of Valor. I really like cooldowns on Ymir because, again, without cooldowns, you're really doing nothing. And you can't. Another bad thing about Ymir is obviously he doesn't have any room to actually like close gaps, or he doesn't have any dash or any movement, so he can easily get poked out. So as far as like starting relics, you can go with the the blink to initiate, or sprint, or whatever other supportive relics. But you can go to the Breastplate of Valor and then combo that up with like the Hardwood Amulet, which not on my current patch where I'm playing on, but the next patch that's coming up soon, the Hardwood Amulet is getting an additional 5 magical protections, because as you can see, it has 40 right on the base, but the tier 2 has 45. It looks really weird, so it's gonna get a small buff. So you can go to the Hardwood Amulet. It's a really good core item for most supports if you're looking to be really supporty. And as well as, don't forget, the aura effect also applies to you, so you are getting that 60-65 magical protections. Or if you want to go the more selfish route, then you can go with the Borg of Hope. It provides pretty much the same protections and health. The CCR, it's a nice bonus, but the passive gives you a health shield once you reach below 30%. Now, if you don't want to go into Breastplate, like let's say you don't really care for the cooldown reductions, then in that case you can just go with the good old classic Sovereignty paired up with the Hardwood Amulet or the Borg of Hope. This is pretty meta from like season 2 and season 1. To just go into the Sovereignty and Hardwood combination. They both have aura effects. You're really team oriented build you can go into. So you can go into something like that. However, if you want to go into a little bit more of a selfish defensive item that has both physical and magical, then I would recommend going to the Hide the Urchin. The earlier you get this, the better, regardless on if you're on the losing or winning team. However, of course, if you are on the winning team where you're getting a lot of kills and assists, this item is just fantastic. And as long as you're on a really good winning team, you can pick this up. It doesn't really matter when your build, like whenever, your last few items or whatever, because it just provides so much physical and magic protections. It's just, it requires 10 stacks. However, if you don't want to build into 10 stacks, then you can go into the Mantle of Discord somewhere throughout your build. And then the cheaper version of Mantle is, of course, the Spirit Robe. But let's just go ahead and play out a single build. Let's just go into the cooldown boots, into the Breastplate of Valor, looking for a cooldown build. Next, obviously you need some magical protection. But let's say you want to be a little bit more supportive, I'll go to the Hardwood of Amulet. And if about the wing blade, if you don't go to other wing blade start, you can also pick this up throughout your build. However, you probably want to mostly just look at this item as the enemy team has a lot of slows, and then this would be super strong for Ymir. However, if that's not the case, you can, after you have your core physical and magic protection item, then you can go to some other flavor items. You can go into like the Void Stone if you're looking to do a little bit more damage, and if you have like, a mage in the middle lane and you have a mage in the jungle where you have a lot of magical damage on your team and you really want to enhance that, then you can go into the Void Stone. However, if you're just looking for a lot of, both protections, then you can go into, again, the Mantle of Discord or the Spirit Robe. However, if hunters or assassins are giving you really a hard time, then some good items to invest is the Midgardian Mail. Yes, it lacks some physical protection, but you get that later on in your build or earlier in the build. It does have a lot of HP, but the passive allows you to have a chance to slow your target and their attack speed by 30% for 2 seconds. So it's a really good counter to hunters and assassins. However, if you don't want to go into that and you prefer more physical protections and not that much HP, in that case you can go to the Hide Minion line, looking to reflect damage. And what it also does is it also kind of prevents them from life stealing off of you, if that kind of makes sense. So they hit you, they life steal, but the damage they get reflected back kind of negates that life steal. You can do something like that if you really want to. But pretty much you would go to the Midgardian Mail. A lot of people prefer it as the better solution to fighting against hunters and assassins. And then you can go to that, and then your last item can be whatever you want. Spirit Robe, you can go to something like this. If you go to the cooldown boots, Breastplate and Valor, and the Spirit Robe, doesn't have to be in this order, however. But these 3 items allow you to get that 40% cooldown reduction, which is the cap, as well as the Spirit Robe has the CCR in the passive, which is super good when you get crowd controlled, and you have a lot more damage mitigation due to the passive of the Spirit Robe. Now, normally for supports and Conquest, you don't get to finish your build, so it's very important on which items you choose for your certain situation, because obviously all games are different, and you're probably only going to get up to the Midgardian Mail item slot here. Typically as supports, you don't get to finish your full build. However, if you do get to finish your full build, obviously you sell your starter item, regardless of what it was, for any other item that you do need. If you need to counter healers, obviously you go into the Pestilence. If you have a lot of magical gods on the enemy team, then you go ahead and stack up the Hardwood Amulet of Borg of Hope. That's pretty much it for support building. Is all situational because a lot of games are different. You have more basic attack oriented gods on one team or more healers on the other team. It just really depends. Now, as far as going into something like Arena, obviously you don't need a starter item, so you just go into the boots of your choosing. I would personally go into Choose a Focus, And just for arena purposes and my own personal playstyle, I like to rush the Hide of the Urchin because I really value this item a lot. It has health and protections, and it has a lot of protections. Right now it's kind of hard to get an item that has health and high protections, and that's why I value the Hide of the Urchin so much. And then I'll go into the Breastplate of Valor. I kind of value the Breastplate of Valor over Sovereignty personally, just because I like the cooldown reduction on Ymir. And then you can get, you know, your other magic protections item like Hardwood Amulet. The other items are, I feel like they're more effective in arena, like the Sovereignty and Hardwood Amulet, because you're always around your team during arena. And then the last few items, it just all depends. If you can actually build Dismantle Discord, and like you have the time for it, then definitely go into this item. However, if you do go into this with the breastplate and cooldown boots, you are overcapping your cooldown reduction by 5%. But it's up to you on how much that actually matters. And that is pretty much it. I don't have enough time to cover a damage build. If you're looking to do damage for Ymir, like a damage build, some items I would recommend would be going into the Polynomicon after you have your magical power items. Another good one is Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver will hit like a truck because it's 15% of the target's health. If there's like a chance for you to actually go into like a stack an item building as Ymir, I'd probably recommend going to the Book of Thoth. Warlocks isn't too bad. Obviously you need to rise a hoodie, and as far as pen, you just go into the Obsidian Shard. Those would be some good items, some notable items for Ymir for damaging. And that's pretty much it. Don't want to make the video too much longer. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.